Hey everybody, welcome to Travis's Fishing Channel. I got some stuff behind me to unbox, and eventually I'll take you out and show you the farm animals too. Got some sheep and horses that I'd love to show off too. Went ahead and picked up on the 6 cents deal that they did with the free, buy a broomstick and you get a free draw or trace. Ended up getting the boomstick as well. Just so I had a bigger rod to throw some of these bigger baits on. Then I went ahead and ordered a bunch more 6 cents stuff. Got a hold of the new Ozzies already off of Tackle Warehouse, and I'm going to show those off a little bit. Looking forward to being able to throw that on the back of a chatterbait and being able to stroll it around. I took advantage of using the juggle shot last year. That really helped out a lot on those suspended fish, just throwing in the little tiny hook into it and a little nail weight up front. We fish a lot of shallow water around here, so using the jig head really doesn't work as well as it does when you're fishing 10, 15, 20 feet. So yeah, I'll go into that. Now I couldn't get away with just having one of these bad boys, so I went ahead and bought another one. This one down here is your Ghost Glide, and this one is your Pro's Choice color. Both of these are shad imitations. These bigger shad imitations, I'm hoping to get a really big bite this year. That way, I can pull up some of those 7 to 8 pound bass that I know live on the upper bay, and I've seen people catch that I just can't seem to figure out a way to get them to bite. And this one is the Ghost Glide. This is really a favorite of mine. I love the color, I love the chartreuse belly. And all of these came in, bought these in the slow sink. That way I could add the treble wire underneath on these treble hooks. That way I can adjust sink rates. And I predominantly fish shallow up on the upper bay and the Potomac. But I'm also looking forward to see these on some deeper lakes this year that I'm going to see. And being able to see what I can do with them. With clear water versus this Titanic and tidal water that I usually fish. Show you guys a way to rig up some of these brand new Ozzies that I got a hold of. But opened up a big old black hole on the fishing tackle. Went ahead and pulled everything out of my center box because it was a little damp. Didn't want the rusty old happen. Oh yeah, everything out of the boat, besides the soft plastics. But here are the brand new Ozzies that should be dropping on 6 Cents' website here soon. Went ahead and got the whole trifecta of colors for around here. Got some bluegill colors. This is more of an electric shiner. These will be a good chatterbait trailer and really good for these strolling jig heads. But yeah, these Ozzies, pretty bad to the bone. I can go ahead and show you one of the ways I like to rig them on that juggle shot hook. So I can pop these puppies out of a package. Another really nice thing about these baits are that they come in the clamshells. That's a nice stroll bait that should keep its shape versus some of your other brands that are coming out with the strolling baits that are still in bags, and those will get deformed. So first things first, you want to grab one of these little tiny jig hooks. And you don't want to start at the front of the bait. You're going to want to start a little bit back off of the head. But you want to make sure that you stay straight down the bait. And this is not the easiest rigging method. There's a way to put on a little line keeper on there to keep it from coming back out of your hook on like a really hard cast. This is a way to fish it very slow and very high in the water column without a weight, but you can add in one of these nail weights to the very front of the bait. And I've heard that using the mushroom heads are better on the action because more of the weight is out in the front of it. So to really give it that juggle kind of presentation. So that's it, fully completed with your little weight up front, and it should really spiral down, and when you're reeling it, this will wobble back and forth. And these puppies I picked up at the end of last year for a couple of my Conowingo tournaments. But these are supposed to give you a nice little roll on them. They're tungsten, gives you a little better return off of your forward-facing sonar. And that's how you're supposed to rig them. It's the same kind of technique with the juggle shot. I don't think this is exactly perfect, but with that line tie up there on its back, it lets that bait really roll back and forth. So, I mean, it should be a really good bait, but I haven't had the most success on them yet. And here are a couple of brand new chatterbait colors that they came out with this year. This one's Smallmouth Magic. I'm really looking forward to going up north with this puppy. I got those Ozzies to really pair with it. The electric shiner should look perfect on the back of that. And another color that they came out with is this new California Crawl. It's really close to one of those colors I really love. It's a little more natural. It doesn't have that orange belly, but I've had my most success on these painted blades versus your shiny blades. If I'm throwing a shiny blade, I'd rather just throw a spinnerbait. That way you get that nice flash. These are my two main killers for the chatterbait colors. This one has put a lot of fish in the boat this year for me, going after bluegill eaters. Usually pair a D of missile baits. I'll show you those in a second. And then also with this in the black and blue. Well, this one's actually bruised, but the bruised and black and blue kind of go interchange for me. Upper bait killer. Another thing that I've gotten this winter, really was a Christmas birthday gift for me, is this new hook box by BKK. I've really fell in love with the BKK hooks over the last year. They're flipping hooks. I really can't say that I've lost a single fish throwing them. They stick them and they don't come off. But they came out this year with their new box. And this will replace my old hook box. But instead of always having to dig through and finding each of your baits, they're all individually labeled and it comes pre-packed. And this is going to be an absolute killer for me this year, instead of having to dig through all my hooks, and my other hook box would always get shooken up. And by the time you make a long run, all your hooks are already shooken and you have to go back and dig through them. But they're all pre-labeled, different types of drop shot hooks, got treble hooks, and it's even got their new weighted hooks. So these bad boys have a little weight inside of them. So instead of throwing your normal Texas rigs, you can go through and put this little tungsten weight up in the front of it. That way your weight is completely buried inside your soft plastic. Which I really think is going to be killer for those spawn tournaments, or even just fishing the grass on the Potomac and Upper Bay. And next I got my reels. Went ahead and picked up two brand new ones for this year. This one was actually a Christmas gift too. But this one's the Quantum Accurist. Get this thing open. Really pretty nice white reel. I haven't decided on which reels I'm putting on what. And then this one is a 13 fishing reel. Really, it's a $240 reel, but on Bass Pro right now, they're down to $140, so I went ahead and picked one up. It's got this extra slide adjustment on it, deeper up there for you, so instead of just sitting it on here somewhere, it's going to actually sit up inside of it. But went ahead and picked these two up because I didn't have a reel to throw those big draws, or the next thing I'm getting ready to show you. And these next baits are a little bit of an enigma bait. Go on the internet and you see a bunch of different ideas, or more so opinions on it, that, you know, it can only be reeled at one speed and that it doesn't work. Call it the drunk bait because of its name. But I went ahead and picked them up. I've seen these baits catch so many big fish. on Milligan's videos. They went ahead and got a couple of the medium sinks and the slow sinks. But that's another reason why I bought the other big rod that I ended up getting. That way I could chuck around these 2.5 ounce baits and 2 3/4 ounce baits. Just so I wasn't sitting there torquing on one of my normal rods. But they came out with a different speed of sink, that way you could reel them at different paces. Your slower pace will have your most head wobble out of them. And the nice thing about these is that the heads do wobble when you're reeling them, plus your tail kick. Up next is the Clutch Eco Glide bait. And these things are a little bit pricey, but as I've laid hands on them, now I know why they're so pricey. They are hand tuned. They've even got the spot up here so you can make your own adjustments on them. The paint is made so it doesn't chip off. It's pretty much baked into the plastic, into the resin more so. But this is a perfect chopper glide. That way you could work it fast over top, near docks, over top of laydowns, over top of grass. They got a really big joint on them, which should allow for a big range of motion, as comparative to your draws that don't have that huge range of motion. That's why I ended up getting these, just so I had a little variety in the glide bait options. Really pretty color schemes. I love the tails. A really cool bait. Next, haven't got to use these yet. I've heard a lot of really good things about these for either, you know, shaky heads or your bigger drop shot worm, robo worm magic worm. It's really a missile bait, but they collaborate it with robo worm. That way you get that really cool coloring on all of these. Bleeding shad color, which has got a little bit of that red in it. There's that predominantly shad color. I love my orange baits. Caught so many fish on, you know, Alabama crawl color. And your shad flash. Really cool worms. Can't really wait to get out there and try to use these. And they also came in your 4-inch size versus a 6-inch size. And these can be really used for Ned rigging, or really definitely drop shot bait on these. When it got pretty much the same colors that I had for the 6-inch. These will be killer on a drop shot or Ned rig. And then next up, I got another bait that I really fell in love with towards the end of the year, doing my crank and bite there in, you know, September, October, November. Are these pressured series crankbaits from 6 cents. Went ahead and got your 4s. These are more of a square bill, and these are also silent. They don't have no rattles. As you can see, this one's took in some abuse over the fall, but a really cool color scheme on them. All of them are colored really good. Then you have your 7s, which have the rattles in them. And this is one out of the box, but here, these ones do have your rattle, versus your 4s are a silent, sneaky. No rattle at all. But I really like the silent square bill, because how many times have your fish seen those noisy, loud not rattle traps, but loud square bills come rattling around, versus one that's silent, just like a real bait fish. Doesn't have that same draw power when you're in that muddy water, but a lot of the times in the fall you're getting down into not a rainy time of the year, and these really do shine. But another thing that I noticed while fishing these last year is that you would get them hooked, but I had sometimes a hard time getting them to the boat. Lost a couple really nice fish with those. But for this year, went ahead and went to the finesse kind of treble hook. These have that nano coat on them that lets them get into them a little bit better. So I'm hoping that with some different types of hooks on them, that I have a little better results in getting them into the boat. They hunt great, they get bites like crazy. It's just sometimes I cannot get them to the boat. Really nice pole, 7'11", and it's surprisingly very light for, you know, this extra heavy rod. It's got that fast tip on it, that way you can still work those baits back really nice. And then this here is your heater series from 6 Cents. Both of these rods got shipped separately, had no complaints out of them. Both came in perfect condition, packaged them up very well. This one even came with its own rod sock, but this won't be staying in this rod sock because it's going to be reeled up. This rod is pretty. It's got some really pretty rod seats. But this one is rated for that 1/2 ounce bait to a 5 ounce bait, which is that really perfect rod for throwing those line-through swim baits or even that smaller clutch glide bait. This one's going to end up getting the 13 reel. Not sure if I love the color combination with the orange grips, but I like the orange and blue together. All those reels I got are that same 7 gear ratio, that way they're all somewhat close. I would love to go out there. I fell in love with the Lose Mach 2 last year, turned into my go-to baitcaster reel, and that's a 7-3-1. But these are really close, and I'm hoping that it's pretty much the same pickup. That way I'm kind of close on the same gear ratio. Also go ahead and give a quick little shout out to our open series. I'll flash the schedule up here in a second for this year. I don't know them off the top of my head, but it's a really good open series. It's got some of the best sticks in Maryland. Go ahead, and if you finish in your top 10% out of everybody that fishes throughout the year. Last year we sent 6 people out to the team championships for Bassmaster. And I said at the beginning that I get around to showing you the farm side of Travis. You have 7 sheep. 3 of them are Romaldales, which are more of a fiber sheep. One of them's a Leicester long wool that we've had the longest. She's a baby doll. And then 3 other ones are rescues. One of them is a ram that is more of a hair sheep that we don't do anything with. But the other 2 are a mix of a hair and wool that the farmer around the street didn't really want. So I'll throw your names up there. You got Eloise, Dolly, Lambert, KO's my buddy. Then you got Pebbles, Bam Bam, and Dolly hiding back there behind the feeder. Then to the horses. We have 4 now. This one here would be a Moray, which is turned into my little pony. She's a sweetheart, but she knows how to be mean. And then the black one on the right is Champ. He's the oldest. And then on the left is Capone. And then back here in the middle is the Ranger. He is the youngest. He's only about 1.5 years old, 2 years old now. She's about 4, really 3.5. Yeah, come over and say hi, Capone. He's more of a pony. The other ones are all going to be full-size horses. Well, already are full-size horses, and Ranger's still growing. Hi, mister. Ranger is a little bit of a shy guy, but he's starting to come around for us. He's gotten so big since we've gotten him. He's a little hay dough. He got a little hay all over him. And then over here is my wonderful dog, Berkeley, that loves to terrorize the horses every second that she gets. Burke. As you can see, it's a little cold out. We got a big snowstorm coming on Monday. We're all trying to get ready for. But thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. Pretty soon I'll be able to show you what the boat layout's gonna be. And as you saw, I gotta dry some stuff out, clean up some boxes, and put some stuff away. But hey, thank you and peace.